Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen. We've had a letter from the chairman. Chris Roberts, original creator of Star Citizen and Squadron 42, has dumped a huge amount of info and his thoughts on how the project is going, future updates, Squadron 42 progress, and really how the project has panned out for 2020 in his own words. Let's read you this one in its entirety as it's from the man himself. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. A Tale of Two Cities, Charles Dickens. I can't think of a better quote that encapsulates what Star Citizen has achieved this year, and the horrible year that 2020 became, as the world became upended by the biggest global pandemic since the 1918 influenza pandemic. I would have never guessed that last year that I would spend the last 9 months of 2020 working from home under various levels of lockdowns, that I wouldn't be able to travel to see friends or family in person or visit our various offices. COVID-19 has affected billions of people and cut short the life of way too many. To any of you that have lost friends or family members or have been adversely affected economically, our thoughts are with you. Hopefully 2021 will be a better year, allowing all of us to get back to a semblance of normal life. We certainly miss the personal connection we have internally when working together in the same space, or we get to experience with the community at events like CitizenCon, various bar citizens, or get-togethers. The growth of Star Citizen's community and the increased amount of time spent playing is one of the few bright spots of 2020 for me. One of the strengths of Star Citizen is that it is at a place where people can meet up and adventure together, away from the worries of the world, with friends or strangers. People may have not been able to socialise in person, but throughout our revamped friends system, VoIP, chat or third-party apps like Discord, we've been able to get together and have fun in Star Citizen's virtual universe. With the reduction of human connection in the real world, multiplayer games like Star Citizen have been essential in maintaining some semblance of human connection in an isolating time. This has been borne out by a number of hours and active users that have played Star Citizen this year. When I look back on the breadth and passion of our player base this year, I'm amazed. In 2020, we had players from over 200 unique countries and territories around the world, and from 56,340 unique cities, playing 26,576,364 hours of Star Citizen. This year we've had over 740,000 unique players play Star Citizen, and we still have another week and a half nearly to go. Nearly 500,000 of them were returning or continually active players, and 250,000 were complete newcomers to the verse that we welcomed to our community this year. It's no wonder that with that type of record engagement, we've had the most successful year of revenue ever, eclipsing last year's historic mark by over 60%. And you can read about some of that in their posted 2019 financials that they just put up on their Cloud Imperium website. Year in review. Taking stock of this year, despite the challenges, I am proud of what we were able to deliver to players this year in Star Citizen. We continue to make good on our pledge of quarterly updates, releasing 4 major ones, 3.9, 3.10, 3.11 and 3.12 this year, along with 2 in-game events, Invictus Launch Week and the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo. Invictus Launch Week in May was a big debut for us and for players, as it marked the introduction of capital ships in the verse. Not only did we show off the Idris in Star Citizen, but we also presented the Javelin, and the spectacle of both major UE capital ships and the verse sci-fi version of the real-world fleet week in-game was so big that it led to our largest single day, week and month of unique player logins ever. It also brought our servers down, and we learned a lot from that event that helped us accelerate our back-end and game services work to prepare us for even more concurrency. When this year's Intergalactic Aerospace Expo rolled out, we were ready and had demonstrably smoother experiences for players after the lessons learned in May. Looking back at all of 2020, we made some big strides with each update. In 3.9, we introduced the city of New Babbage and its spaceport as an active landing zone, microtext 3 moons, Calliope, Clio and Euterpe, and player status, personal inventory, player inner thought, and prison gameplay. Alpha 3.10 brought a huge update to our flight model and combat that made flying in-game more immersive and exciting, especially in atmosphere, a new player trading app, and body dragging, a necessary first step in medical and bounty hunting gameplay. Alpha 3.11 brought force reactions, cargo stations, armistice zone changes, and a revamped throwable system for all items as well as grenades. Finally, Alpha 3.12 brought gas clouds, refinery stations, handheld tractor beams, weapon zeroing, and the first iteration of the reputation system, which tracks a player's standing with various organisations. The vehicle team delivered some long-awaited ships over the year, such as the 100 series, the Origin ships, Asperia Prowler, the Cutlass Red, Cutlass Blue, and fan favourites such as the Carrack and Mercury Starrunner. We've added a couple of brand new flyable ships in the consolidated Outland Nomad and the Asperia Talon, and a straight-to-drivable vehicle with the Grey Cat Industrial Rock. The weapons team delivered 8 new FPS weapons, including the first grenade launcher, which is explosively good fun. We also kept improving our subscription programs in 2020, evolving them further away from the old model of supplying video shows and delivering more tangible in-game benefits. This year, subscribers of both subscription tiers received complimentary in-game flair, including weapons like the UT Flex combat knives and new Electron-powered pistol and sniper rifles, cold weather outerwear, utility items like the Quick Flare Pro glow sticks and Grey Cat Pyro multi-tool, combat gear like the Overlord and Paladin helmets, and various Overlord armor suits, and fun items like Faith 3 reproduced Second Tavaran War uniforms and WoW Blast toy pistols that fired foam projectiles. Subscribers also got to enjoy monthly free flies of some of the most popular newly flyable ships, including the Cutlass Red, the Cutlass Blue, the Carrack, the Argo Mole, Sabre, Avenger Titan, Asperia Prowler, and the M50, not to mention a new perk to 2020 of subscriber-exclusive cross-chassis upgrades. The amazing new flare and sub-perks were a real hit with players this year and led to our best year of active subscribers yet. All in all, this was a great year for Star Citizen, and I couldn't be prouder of our dev team for everything they've produced and delivered to our community this year. While we didn't deliver a few of the major tech milestones we'd hoped to this year, like iCache and server meshing, we've made a lot of progress towards these goals. We are confident that you will see at least one, if not both, debuts of these important technologies next year. Likewise, we plan to open up more playtests next year for Theatres of War, our combined arms game mode with Star Citizen of rapid battles on foot, in vehicles and in space that many of you have been inquiring about. The shift to work from home, while relatively painless and achieved quickly due to our superb IT and DevOps departments, has had an impact on productivity. We are not as efficient in closing out features and content or solving bugs when everyone is a remote worker. Creative work feeds off spontaneous collaboration, which is harder to achieve when you have to call someone over Teams as opposed to looking over their shoulder at a desk or bumping into them while grabbing a coffee. Bugs are easier to fix when an engineer can walk over to a tester's desk and see the bug reproduced, and then debug the issue directly. As much as I'm proud of how quickly everyone has transitioned to a global work-from-home environment, I'm looking forward to the point next year where we can start to return to the office for in-person collaboration. A new roadmap. Progress, priorities, no more promises, more insight. This week also marks our first deployment of an all-new roadmap designed to give you more insight and visibility into our development teams than ever before. We've embarked on various efforts in the past to show you what our teams are working on, but all have shown just a subset of what our teams are doing. Our most recent roadmap was still predicated on asking our teams to predict when they could deliver a feature, content or tech, and then holding them as much as possible to that date. However, with agile development and with us building so much that has complex unknowns and downstream dependencies, we realized over time that this approach wasn't sustainable. Introducing the Progress Tracker. The cornerstone of this new roadmap is our new Progress Tracker view. With this Progress Tracker, we set out to accomplish 2 goals. 1, pull back the curtains for all teams, and 2, show you what each team, including the Squadron 40 team, is working on this quarter and what their priorities are after completing the immediate deliverable at hand. This view is solely meant to share what teams are working on at any given time, and it shouldn't be used to determine when a deliverable will hit the live servers. For the Progress Tracker view, we've committed upfront to giving you 4 quarters of visibility into each team's development. The further out you go in the project, the more fluid and subject to change the work is and less hardened the schedules. That's why we don't think it useful to go beyond 4 quarters threshold. Even at 3 to 4 quarters out, you should know that deliverables will be subject to movement, sometimes moving out a quarter or more, and that's because priorities can change, unknowns may surface that block development, or downstream dependencies may get delayed that force us to pause work or revisit our estimates. But it's important to note that the new progress tracker will show you our best estimates of our team's deliverables and the duration of their sprints for 4 quarters out. Our first update. With the introduction of the progress tracker, we will roll out the demonstrated teams in stages. As we've mentioned before, we have over 50 development teams at Cloud Imperium, ranging from 4 to 20 team members. For this first launch of our new roadmap, we are showing 20 teams. These are all core feature and content teams that are upstream in development, meaning they set the major tentpole development deliverables for the rest of Star Citizen and Squadron 42. These include the active features team, live mission content team, landing zone content, US persistent universe features, planet content, vehicle features, weapon features, and more, as well as several dedicated Squadron 42 teams like Squadron 42 art, FPS design, flight design, social design. And with 4 quarters of work, we are showing you over 200 deliverables from these 20 teams. To put that into perspective, in our 3.12 release card, in our previous roadmap, we showed 26 deliverables. So with just 40% of our teams, we are already showing you more than 8 times what we used to show you in a single card release. Though I'd like to butt in there and actually say that's a bit of a false comparison there, that it's 8 times more information than what a single card release is, but it's over a whole year, and it isn't showing what features are actually going to be necessarily completed. It's showing work towards them. So do you see what I mean? It might show 200 deliverables, but that's not 200 features. So it's a bit of a false comparison. What is still missing is our core tech group, which is comprised of 9 teams working on iCache and server meshing, as well as AI, network, graphics, and engine. We know many of you are eagerly awaiting the roadmap for these teams, and we plan to show those in January, when we will also update the progress tracker with more teams. As we mentioned in our previous update, our initial publish will exclude our downstream teams, such as VFX, audio, UI, and others. These teams support the upstream teams and therefore need to first see the schedules set by the core feature and content teams before they can determine their own work and priorities. Because of that, we opted to hold these teams back from the debut of our progress tracker so they could continue work to solidify their schedules, with the intent of adding them to the progress tracker in Q1. Update, schedule, and more features. With our new roadmap, we plan to continue to provide updates on a regular basis. The old roadmap was updated every week, and while we will visit our new roadmap weekly, we aim to update fortnightly. However, this doesn't mean that we will have many updates to provide at such a frequent cadence. In the short term, we plan to add our core tech group to the progress tracker in January, and the downstream teams shortly after that. After that's done, we will continue to update the new roadmap as work completes, new projects come online, and any changes occur to progress and priorities. You'll note that the first delivery of the progress tracker is actually version 0.5. We still have many features and improvements in store for the progress tracker before we would call it complete. For instance, we plan to add the ability to search and favorite items and deliverables, as well as link deliverables in the progress tracker to their estimated delivery in the revamped release view. Not only will we continue to add new features, but we've also, of course, will continue to optimize the user experience with improvements to overall usability. The revamped release view. You'll also notice that with the new roadmap that we have 2 views, the new progress tracker view and a release view, which is a reimagining of the old roadmap cards. While the progress tracker is showing you what deliverables all teams are working on, or plan to work on for the next 4 quarters. The release view is meant to give you an idea of when we can expect to release those deliverable in the mid-term. Our desire is to show you 4 quarters of releases, but one critical takeaway is that only the immediate quarter in front of us has a chance to have a release view that will be hardened, as the deliverables that appear on that card for the quarter in front of us have passed the go, no-go gates, or be close enough to completion that we can predict their delivery with a high degree of confidence. You could say that at this point we have around a 90% degree of confidence that this deliverable will make its indicated release quarter. Once you go past the quarter in front of us, though, that predictability and confidence for a delivery will begin to degrade. In cases where we have yet to start on a project, it is especially difficult to predict the delivery with a high degree of confidence, particularly for projects that have more unknowns. In those instances where we just don't know yet, we won't even place that deliverable onto a release card 2 to 4 quarters out, even though you will see it scheduled out in the progress tracker for work. But for some deliverables that we've gotten into a rhythm of delivering, such as vehicles and landing zones, we will be better equipped to estimate timelines. These could appear in release cards even a few quarters out. For any of these deliverables further down the line, though, we will only place them onto the release card and the release view if we have at least a good level of confidence, around 70% confidence level, that we could make that window. If we can't even clear that hurdle of confidence internally, it will not appear on the release view for a given patch. As of this first publish, we are showing you a release view with just one release column, which is Q1 2021 or Alpha 3.13, but when we return in January, we plan on adding Q2, Q3 and Q4, all alongside debuting a new roadmap feature to further share which deliverables we hope to release in the year to come, in order to capture the fluidity of deliverables that are further in the future. We will be adopting a color coding system that indicates that the further out we get from the first quarter, the fuzzier the release card and more the deliverables in are subject to change. The quarter in front of us may be a solid colour, although in this case 3.13 would actually be grey until they're closer to a go-no-go area, denoting that we're in the midst of working on our deliverables and understand velocity enough to determine a very reliable delivery estimate. For the next 3 quarters after that, the release cards will be in light grey to denote that these estimated delivery times are still fluid and could move around. At the highest level, you'll know that if you are viewing a release card that is grey, it will be fluid. That's because even if we have around 70% confidence it will make it, there's a good chance, there's around 30% chance it could move. If the release card is solid coloured, it will be hardened with just a 10% chance or less of moving. Put another way, if it's grey, don't be surprised if it moves or changes. If it's solid, expect it to stay put, with some rare exceptions. We know that the new roadmap and progress tracker, as well as our desire for you to shift your mindset in how you view our progress, will take some getting used to, but we feel that this new view will finally give all of our community the most transparent peek inside our development that we've ever had, and we have plans to continue building on this roadmap to make it more informative and instructive for all watchers. Squadron 42. The new roadmap is not meant to give people an early estimate on when Squadron 42 will be completed. We made a conscious decision to only show the Squadron 42 work concurrently with Star Citizen work over the roadmap's 4 quarters. This is because it's too early to discuss release or finish dates on Squadron 42. As I said earlier this year, Squadron 42 will be done when it's done, and it will not be released just to make a date, but instead only when all technology and content is finished. The game is polished and it plays great. I am not willing to compromise the development of a game I believe in with all my heart and soul, and I feel it would be a huge disservice to all the team members that have poured so much love and work into Squadron 42 if we rushed it out or cut corners to put it in the hands of everyone who is clamouring for it. Over the past few years, I've seen more than a few eagerly awaited titles before they were bug-free and fully polished. This holiday season is no exception. This is just another reminder to me of why I am so lucky to have such a supportive community, as well as a development model that is funded by people that care more about the best game possible and not about making their quarterly numbers or the big holiday shopping season. For most games, it is typical to not even announce the project until 12 months out and only start building awareness with marketing 6 months before launch. The issues with showing gameplay, locations or assets on a narratively driven game this early are twofold. First, a marketing campaign can only last so long, and second, there is only so much of the gameplay we can show before release, as we want you to experience a really engrossing story. If we show the non-spoiler gameplay now, that's prime footage and gameplay that we could have used closer to release. It's better to treat Squadron 42 like a beautifully wrapped present under the tree that you are excited to open on Christmas Day, not knowing exactly what's inside, other than knowing that it's going to be great. Because of this, I've decided that it is best to not show Squadron 42 gameplay publicly, nor discuss any release date until we are closer to the home stretch and have high confidence in the remaining time needed to finish the game to the quality we want. The planned Squadron 42 specific update show, The Briefing Room, is not dead. It will just go on hiatus until we are closer to release, and it will come back as part of an overall plan to build excitement as we show all the amazing features and details players will experience in Squadron 42. This does not mean we will stop communicating our progress on Squadron 42. We will continue with our monthly reports for Squadron 42, and we will also share our current development progress in our new roadmaps. I will say that the Squadron 42 team has really stepped up this year. It's been a pleasure seeing how responsive and agile everyone has been, and just how much the team cares about making things great, despite the challenges of working remotely. All of us, including myself, are in close-out mode, and I can't wait for all of you to experience the sprawling sci-fi epic that Squadron 42 is. In the meantime, Star Citizen is the best visibility into gameplay and technical progress that we make. You can download a new update every 3 months with new features and content, as well as advances in tech, and we have weekly video shows that go behind the scenes in the creation of these features and content, and we welcome feedback and player input on how to improve things. A lot of the core gameplay of Star Citizen, especially in the flight and on foot combat, will be the same between both games. Squadron 42 will have a much higher level of bespoke locations and assets and a more crafted feel, combined with a cinematic quality and characters played by famous actors that will take you on a rollercoaster narrative experience that will rival the biggest sci-fi event films. My hope is that you'll be so engaged in Star Citizen that Squadron 42 will be here before you know it. 2020, explosive growth in new players and engagement. Several years ago, in keeping with our value of transparent development, we began sharing our financials with you at the end of each year. This year we decided to take that one step further and talk about engagement and player growth in 2020. If you've been following Star Citizen for years, you'll notice that 2020 was an unprecedented year with explosive growth. The only publicly available metric we provided until recently is the spending on our game via the funding tracker. That title is a bit of a misnomer, as we have thousands of players that are coming to the project as new players without the knowledge of its crowdfunding history, and are instead spending for early access to Star Citizen Alpha and the current experience it provides. The spending on Star Citizen has indeed been phenomenal, and our revenues, as shown on the tracker, have set monthly records since January, with the exception of October and December, which is yet to close. 2019 was itself a record year at the time, with 48 million in sales revenue, yet 2020 is so far already 60% higher and will likely close at over 80 million in sales this year. Some might think that this is all old backers spending more, but that's only the tip of the iceberg. Fueling this explosive growth is new players discovering Star Citizen for the first time. Revenues are a lagging indicator and by themselves tell a very small part of the story. Only if you are doing everything else right will players come and will spending rise. The single biggest takeaway of 2020 is that we shifted towards a playable now narrative and delivered more features and content alongside a greater emphasis on quality of life and performance. We found ourselves drawing more and more new gamers into our verse and reactivating more old backers to return to check out our progress. And despite the fact that we continue to be alpha with bugs and developing features, these players, new and reactivated, are sticking around in greater numbers than ever before. Bringing new players into the verse. We've added over 400,000 new accounts to the game in 2020 and grew our paying players by 20%, recording our best year ever in terms of new paid player growth and our second best in new accounts. This January we crossed 1 million paying player accounts and have been steadily adding tens of thousands more every month, especially in May, where we debuted the Invictus launch week. Today, we stand at 1,177,919 paying accounts and counting. Even before COVID-19 hit the world, we were recording our best months ever in Q1 in new accounts, new paying players, and revenues. And as the year progressed, we found ourselves building towards our best year ever in new player growth, reactivated players, and unique active players. Rising engagement. Beyond recording our best new player growth and numbers ever in terms of daily engagement, we've continued to average 30k, it's a 30k error, daily active users throughout the year, which is a 70% increase over last year, and our MAU, monthly active users, is around 35 to 40% higher than 2019 and 2018. For the whole year, keeping in mind that we still have 10 of our busiest days of the year to go, 2020 has proven to be our biggest year ever in terms of total unique logins. We've had over 33 million game sessions started by over 740,000 unique players so far in 2020. That unique player count is 35 to 40% higher than in 2019-2018 respectively, and 25% higher than our previous high in 2016, fresh off the novelty and excitement of the Persistent Universe finally going live. So yeah, some impressive figures there for sure. Quadrupling playtime. We know that this may be hard to believe for some long-term backers who have followed the project for years and been playing since the days of driving a Greycat PTV through your hangar. Moreover, recently, bias often leads us to believe that the last 30k or other game-stopping bug means the game is buggier than ever, but in fact, the complete opposite is true. Yes, the game is still in alpha with bugs, and yes, our stability and performance is not yet at Gold Master software standards. We recognise that and are focused on improving performance with each patch. We know it may not feel like it at times, but Star Citizen is actually more performant than ever before, and the player stats are what tell us that. Since we delivered 2.0 at the end of 2015, our minutes played per player have been steadily increasing, and concurrency, which before was drastically constrained by crashes and bugs that induced restarts, has been steadily climbing as our game environment has become more stable, allowing more players to stay online for longer periods of time. In the first 12 months after we rolled out the Persistent Universe with 2.0, our players were averaging about 32 minutes of playtime per day. Today, minutes played per day have more than quadrupled. So 2016, that was 32 minutes of average playtime. In 2017, 56 minutes. 2018, 81 minutes. 2019, 114 minutes played per day per player, and now in 2020 it's an average playtime of 2 hours and 25 minutes per player, which is actually pretty impressive for Star Citizen. We're making steady strides in progress. Many backers who've taken breaks and come back to the game marvel at how much it's progressed, especially since last summer, with each successive patch from 3.5 to 3.6 to 3.7 and into this year, and with the spectacle of events like Invictus Launch Week, we've been able to attract hundreds of thousands of new gamers who are awed by the scale and immersion of this one-of-a-kind sci-fi experience. Not only have we added more to do with new locations to explore, new ships to fly, new missions to undertake, and more to discover, but we've also added game-changing new tech like server-side object container streaming and the beginnings of our long-term persistence in 2020. With these additions, coupled with Star Citizen's continued improvements in industry-leading visuals, it's no wonder that we've recorded our best year ever in terms of attracting and retaining new players, who have in turn helped us make 2020 a record year in revenues as well. That last part, retention, is also extremely important to us. We don't want to welcome a new player to the verse only to see them churn away instantly due to sparse content or a raft of bugs, so that's why we've begun to emphasize quality of life, performance and stability since 3.7, and while we are still far from where we want to be in those areas, it's a focus for us now as we walk the tightrope of ensuring the game is playable and performant enough for ongoing playing and testing, while also introducing new features, content and tech, which unfortunately always introduces new bugs and issues to move the Star Citizen experience forward. Final notes as we approach a new year. What we are most proud of this year isn't revenue, it's the fact that we've provided an appealing enough value proposition to compel hundreds of thousands of new players to invest their time to try out our game. It's the fact that we've had enough content and enough of an enduring experience to retain a high percentage of those players for weeks and months afterwards. It's the fact we're engaging and exciting enough with new and revamped gameplay to bring back hundreds of thousands of lapsed backers. When we pull back to regard 2020 in its entirety, all of this shows us that we're making tremendous strides moving Star Citizen ever closer to its ultimate goal. When we're playing every day and marred in the day-to-day, it can seem hard to see the forest for the trees, but we wanted to arm you, the community that has supported us along the way, with the perspective that we possess internally when we see all the holistic metrics in aggregate that tells us that the game is enjoying its healthiest year ever in growth and engagement. Pardon me, my voice is going now. One final and important note worth making is that the broadening player base and influx of new users is giving Star Citizen a healthier and more sustainable foundation than ever before. We don't want any backer or new player to ever feel like they're obligated to pledge for a new ship to keep the dream going. All you need is a starter package and everything can be earned in game. We are ever grateful for the support of all our backers and immensely appreciative of their funding, but as our player base continues to grow, we want long-term backers to know that a new generation of players is joining Star Citizen in record numbers, and their contribution via their spend is allowing us to continue investing in the infrastructure and talent to keep building Star Citizen and make the game all that we want it to be. We, of course, want our old backers to continue logging in and playing to help test and give us feedback that we will need to make the game perfect. And if you feel like you've contributed enough money-wise in support over the years, then just contribute your time through playing the game. You don't need to worry about Star Citizen's or Cloud Imperium's viability. We're healthier than ever, but we still value your time and your voices. Thanks to all of you in our community who share in the collective dream of Star Citizen. We had our best year ever in the ways that count the most: player engagement and new citizens, and we think next year will be even bigger. Star Citizen hit an inflection point back at 3.7 alpha, and we haven't looked back since then, and it's all thanks to you and the thousands of players, new and old alike, who have joined us in helping make this the best damn space sim ever. From all of us at Cloud Imperium, we want to wish everyone a happy holidays and a great 2021. Chris Roberts, founder and CEO. So that was a huge letter from the chairman, and I hope that provided some insight, though I don't necessarily agree with all of what I would deem marketing and management speak for some of it. Obviously, Star Citizen is very much alpha, and I do think it has a long way to go to be a much more sit down and play game. I do think it is making progress, and I like the fact that Chris shared so much info there on a broad range of topics, but also said people don't need anything more than a gameplay package. People don't need to keep on chucking money into Star Citizen to fund the dream. They're healthy financially, they're doing really well, don't worry about it. Just buy a starter package if you need one, and you can get everything in game. But I do also suspect that they are very aware that the more confidence people have in the project, the more willing they are to put money in as well. So it's like for when people have watched me live stream, when I'm very modest about taking donations, I go, thank you so much, you genuinely don't need to donate. It's really appreciated though, but it's just going to go to beer money or something. Loads of people then start donating. I know what you're doing, CIG. But thanks for the new roadmaps. And yeah, 2020 has been an amazing year for Star Citizen financially and for new backers, and some pretty good events. Obviously some trials, tribulations, failures, successes. But yeah, roll on 2021. Please tell me what you think in the comments below as well. Were you happy with 2020, with Star Citizen's progress? What did you think of what Chris Roberts said about any of those given subjects? Squadron 42 stuff, it's going to be ready when it's ready. Is it going to be significantly over a year away before release? What do you think with that? Also, for people that have stayed with me and watched this 35-minute plus video or whatever it is now, I'll put an additional giveaway in here as well. In addition to the Mercury Star Runner giveaway, I'll also, for this specific video, have a Asperia Talon as a giveaway prize as well. So just comment on this video to be in for a chance of winning that. I'll choose a random comment and draw the winner on the first week of January. But thank you so much for watching and listening to this video. I hope you have a great Christmas and a very, very happy new year and a great start to 2021. Ho, ho, ho! Merry Shipmas! We're giving away a Mercury Star Runner in December because it's Christmas and we do it every month anyway. Zin, put a Mercury Star Runner in my hand because that's what we're giving away, and put a hat on it, like a Christmas hat. There you go. That's animation for you, potentially. I just moved my hand around. So just comment on any one of my videos during the month of December to be in for a chance of winning that. Also, maybe give someone special the gift that keeps on giving. I'm talking, of course, about NordVPN. Links below. Also, don't forget Shadow. They do cloud-based gaming stuff, so you can get that as well. Thanks for watching, guys. Click the YouTube join button, like and subscribe, do all that sort of stuff. Thanks for supporting the channel. Merry Christmas. Oh, oh, oh. Mercury Star Runner.